Alright guys, so I want to talk a little bit about my Minuteman loadout. Minuteman loadout is essentially a level of preparedness for the combat zone or combat in your area. Now I know it might be foolhardy for some people don't understand why you would have such kit and gear, but if you can look at what's going around in the world, obviously terrorism is abundant. It's not going to stop anytime soon, and if you had to protect or prepare yourself, especially your family, you might need a little extra gear. Now depending on what state you live in will depend on what gear that you can have, and of course what rifles you can have, but it goes without saying that having this gear and having it readily available that you can go in a minute's notice, in other words leave your home or go to an area of operation where you can survive an armed conflict, is more beneficial to you to just have this, or maybe a little bit more of a security blanket. Does everybody need this type of kit and gear? No, but me coming from a military background, most of this stuff is already here. I'm just putting it in a way where I could grab it and go, and I think that's the premise that you have to go with. There's a lot of gear on this table right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this stuff off and go over it a couple pieces at a time, so stand by. Alright guys, this is what I consider a battle belt or a gun belt, if you will. Notice it's all in black. I don't specifically care for whatever colors you want. If you want to go with OD green, if you want to go with tan, if you want to go with black, whatever color is comfortable to you, that's fine. Now I know black is not a good camouflage, I get it. I'm under the assumption that if shit really hits the fan or it's a really bad, we're claiming martial law, color of your battle belt's not really going to matter. It's going to be about safety and about protecting yourself and whoever you're with. So in that aspect, color really doesn't bother me. Some of the things that I have on this belt is, we'll go over it a little bit, but I want to show you that I don't put everything, I put everything on a separate belt, and I use belt keepers. Okay, for me, belt keepers, it's a little bit easier. Security guards, police officers, and the like, they use what they call a gun belt. I myself like it. I think it's a good idea, and I kind of rigged it the same way that I would in that aspect. All right, so I have 3 magazines here up front. This would be on my left side because I'm a right-handed shooter. Over here I have a flashlight. This is the ProTech HL Streamlight, very bright flashlight. I have a tourniquet in a hard case. This is my drop pouch. That's made by Maxpedition. Here is a multi-tool. I think this is the Leatherman 300, no, Super Tool 300. All right, really big, heavy-duty super tool. I have another tourniquet in here with my blood type A positive. Now we're going over to my right side. This is another medical kit. Inside the medical kit I have Quick Clot, I have Israeli bandages, and I have gloves. It's not a big kit for medical, but if someone's bleeding out, it's going to help. Alright. Cold steel. This is the Cold Steel Recon Tanto in VG1. Very sharp blade, and it is the VG1 Sanmai. Alright, Sanmai means that it's just laminated steel. It clips in there. I like the clip. It comes with a clip that's actually some type of condor, but I don't like the floppiness. I like it to be everything static to the belt itself. I want it to be clipped on there so it doesn't move, and if I have to pull it out, hurry, I can. You don't need a knife on your battle belt. Even when I was in Iraq, the only big knife that I carried was my bayonet because I needed it. But other than that, I carried a pocket knife and a large folding knife. Normally I would have a large folding knife on me anyway, but I like this to have it with the kit in case I need it. I would not be chopping wood with this or prying open doors or anything like that. That knife is made for one specific purpose, and that's self-defense. That's it. It's not made for anything else. All right. As far as a holster goes, this is the Safari Land drop holster, leg holster with flashlight. It is a triple retention system. So when you put the gun inside, you have to pull it down, and then there's a lever here as well. So it has 3 retentions on it, and it does have a leg strap. Now, I'm not a big component of thigh rigs or leg straps because they can be a little bit problematic. I did carry one when I was in Iraq, and I found it to be a little bit cumbersome, but if you're doing vehicle operations or you plan to wear some type of chest harness, which I'll show you in a minute, then yeah, it makes sense. It's very hard to get your gun out if it's near your waist, and your pistol out, I should say, and it's near your waist, and you do have a chest rig on. It's almost near impossible. So you have to have that space to drop it down a little further so it's near your thigh. Obviously, if you're wearing a rig like this, your pockets now become obsolete. So plan on, if you had cargo pockets or if you had a side pocket, you're not going to be able to use that. Optionally, on the other side, what I can carry and what I have carried in the past, this is made by Blackhawk, and you can see that it's green, is extra AR-15, AR, M16 magazine holder. Okay, this holds 4. You can put 2 on each side, and again, if I put this on my left side, it would be a little bit more cumbersome, but if I needed the extra ammo, at least it was there. I used this a couple times, but I found that with 4 fully loaded magazines, it weighs a lot on your waist, on your legs and on your hips. But I have the option, and it weighs almost nothing to put it in my bag, and if I need it, I got it. Alright guys, so this is my plate carrier. It has 6 up front. I think they call them kangaroo pouches with the bungee. It'll carry 6 AR-15 magazines. This right here is my trauma kit, or my IFAK. Has a lot of good stuff in there, tourniquets and all kinds of quick clot. It even has ibuprofen and all types of other meds as well. A lot of times it's the little bugs that get you, not the big ones. So I always make sure that I carry some type of Imodium in there, some tape, gauze, all that kind of good stuff. All right. On the side here, you can see I have another tourniquet. All right, cat tourniquets. Here is a SAW, or SAW, Squad Automatic Weapon Bag. It is military grade, 200 round SAW gun a pouch. But a lot of times when you're wearing a chest rig, like I said, or you're wearing a gun belt, you don't have pockets anymore. All your pockets get used up. So I use this as an admin pouch. I have some impact gloves, Right in the Rain field gear. I also have the protractor for reading maps. Pens for maps, and I also have my compass. This is my lensatic compass, military grade compass. That's about it. Sometimes I put my Shema in there. Sometimes I'll put some food in there if I'm on the go, depending on what I'm carrying. Very beneficial. It's just one of those things that you need if you're not going to use your pockets anymore. Up top, I have some more pistol mag pouches. In here, I just have another flashlight if I need it. You can use a headlamp, but you would have to put it in here. These do have metal plates inside. AR-500, excellent. I highly suggest, if you're going to get plate carry, get the metal plates. Drag handle. I also have a drop pouch. I have an extra drop pouch on the back, and I run the back slick. I don't put anything on the back, and there's a reason for that we'll go over in a minute. I also have the option, if I wanted to put side plates, but side plates with these 2 front and back plates makes this thing very, very heavy, and it doesn't even have the ammo in there. Once I have the ammo in there, this thing gets really heavy, so I try not to. Alright, so what I have is supplementary gear. Supplementary gear means if I don't want to run a plate carrier, I don't want to wear any armor at all, I could wear this rig. This is just a chest rig. It has no armor whatsoever. I think this is a Condor make. Yeah, it's a Condor make. Very, very lightweight. It has my medical IFAK here. It has 3 pouches up front, and then of course in the back it has more pouches. It has a little thing on the side if you want to put chem lights or a flashlight or a mag, pistol mag, you can. This is very lightweight. The only reason I keep this with my other gear is if I want to go light, if I want to do a reconnaissance and maybe some light work, or if, like, I know they make plates that float right now, but if you're doing riverborne or waterborne operations, you probably don't want to have 30 pounds of metal plates on your body because you'll sink right to the bottom. So it really depends on the mission. I always like to have a couple extra options if I need to get my gear and go. So having something like this, Condor, it's really, really cheap. I think you can buy the whole thing with the pouches now. They call it the Recon chest rig for under $100. So if it's like $60–70, you can have the whole rig. So that's pretty cool. That's supplementary gear. Really good stuff. I always carry, you guys saw this, this is my survival kit, my Maxpedition. If you're not familiar with that, you can go back and take a look. Some headgear. I do have some other things, like this is an actual military style helmet. It's a Kevlar helmet. All right, it's not bulletproof, but it is fragmentation proof, and you can get the piece that goes on the top, so if you wanted to, you can attach night vision stuff. All right, this is old. This was given to me by a friend. I don't even know if you can buy these anymore. The only thing I did was replace the chin strap because it didn't come with one, but this fits my head perfect. It's a medium. It's not super awesome, but if you are worried about fragmentation, or if there's a problem, you know, you gotta always protect your head because you don't want anything falling on top of it, especially artillery rounds or any type of rocks or debris. On a lighter note, if you want, I always carry a ball cap. This is just a regular ball cap, nothing special about it, but keeping the sun out of your eyes, out of your face is good. Knee pads. These were black knee pads that I painted, and you can paint your gear, so never, don't worry about the black stuff. If it's just black, you can paint it. I find that knee pads nowadays are beneficial in any environment, because if you have to go prone really quickly, there's nothing like jumping on knee pads instead of just bare bone and skin. It's going to hurt a lot. You can get elbow pads. I find that with elbow pads, they just don't fit me right. They're very uncomfortable and they wind up cutting the circulation off, so I have to get extra size elbow pads or just not wear them at all, which I kind of don't. Alright guys, continuing on with the supplementary gear. Water. Water is going to be paramount. You'll see that in my other packs. I always try to pack a lot of water. Now I know water is very heavy. Hopefully, if anything does go any catastrophe that we do have, and it is some type of issue, you'll have a clean source of water, or you can find it or make clean source of water. I don't leave water in here specifically because I pack my gear away, but first sign of trouble, make sure you fill up your camelbacks and your canteens and everything else. So I always carry a spare camelback just in case I need it. I always carry some type of extra chopping tool. This happens to be a Condor parang. Alright, there's nothing special about this. They're not expensive. It's just a parang. US military has been using machetes for centuries. I have a US military machete. I just chose to go with this. It's a little smaller, a little lighter, and it doesn't take up much room, and I can also put this in my pack. I don't really put this on my belt. That's not something I would carry. This is something for making camp or at the camp if I needed to make some type of shelter or anything like that. Like I said, the other knife that I carry is specifically for self-defense or any of those reasons. Most likely the open MREs. Alright, let's talk about day packs. This is my day pack. This is not, it can be an overnight pack. There's not a lot of stuff in here. This is specifically for patrol purposes, okay? It's not very big. I can make it even tighter if I want. It is a 511 24-hour pack. I did put another camelback in there, like I said, because I want to have a lot of water, or at least enough water for the day. A camelback with 2 canteens is about right for the amount of exertion that you might be doing. You might need more depending on what you're doing, where you are, but I think in most circumstances it should be enough. If it's not enough, you either need to drop some weight or get some water. Okay. Alright, let's talk about the pack very simply. What I have in here, in this front pouch, 550 cord, I have a rain poncho, some pens, and I have baby wipes. These are disposable baby wipes. These are for going to the bathroom, obviously. If you're new to any type of heavy exertion, or I'd like to say combat, or carrying a lot of gear, your body's going to change. It's just the way it is. Your body needs a lot of water. Your body is going to eat differently. You're not going to sleep as much, and you probably will get diarrhea at some point. Okay, so that's why I said water, maybe some pills, or any of that stuff make your bowels work a little bit better. I have a mini water filtration system. All right, so if I do come across some water and I need it desperately, I can use the filtration system. Alternately, what you can do is you can actually attach that to the Camelback, which is nice if you needed to. In here, I just have a little K-bar, spoon, fork, knife set. It's a small little kit. I don't know if I'll need it or not, but it's kind of hard to eat with your hands sometimes, especially if they're dirty, filthy. I'm not really a big fan of that. Let's open this up. Alright, inside this pack, it's not a big pack, but like I said, it's an assault pack, okay? It's just for what I need. Has some really cool pockets that I'm not using, but if you needed to, they're in there. Inside here is the military whoopee, or poncho liner, if you want to call it that. Alright, poncho liner. I put it in the dry sack so it stays dry. You don't need to, but I find that a compression sack or a stuff sack works really good, keeping the space nice and tight, so you don't need any. You can use the room. Shema, okay, multiple reasons. Sweat. You could sleep with it. You could cuddle up with it. Whatever. It's a good piece of kit. It's comfortable and makes you feel better. All right. As far as food, I have these SOS rations. I probably have to eat them soon. They're good to $5.19. The thing with these rations, they're okay. They're cookie bars essentially with a bunch of sugar and carbohydrates and stuff like that. They're not awesome. I've eaten them before. The taste is okay. It's not bad, but they're very condensed and they're very heavy. I would almost fix these rations with, like an MRE or something that you like to eat. I leave them in here because, like I said, it's ready to go. It's available. I could just pull this pack out. I know I got some food. It's not going to be a long sustaining food, but if I get hungry, I have something to eat. Okay. Ideally, I'd like to have field strip MREs and just pack them in here and then put all my combat gear on and go. All right, that's the way I kind of feel about it. When you're back at base camp, wherever it is, you're gonna have your tent set up. Hopefully you'll have maybe you'll get a hot mess if you can, hot mess tent. I mean, and you'll be able to get some coffee and some food and stuff like that. This is not for that. This is just a patrol pack. If you get lost out in the field or out in the woods, you're gonna need to replace your calories. If you're doing night patrols, day patrols, you're gonna burn so many damn calories. You're gonna need something to refill it. So what you can do is you can take one of these and just throw it in your admin pouch or your saw pouch. Constantly feed. When we were doing missions in Iraq, what we used to do is just, chow is constant. We would just always have food in our cargo pockets, or we would have it on our gear, and you would eat when you could eat. There's no sitting down, eating, having a meal. That's not really how it works, all right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I think I covered the majority of the stuff that you would need in a Minuteman loadout. If you have any comments, nice comments, don't be a jerk about it. Just put it down below. I noticed some stuff that I'm missing here. There aren't any of the other items which I would consider necessary. Like, again, like your field kit, your tent, your, the stuff at base camp. This kit is not meant for that. This is a Minuteman kit. You would take this kit, throw it in your truck, go to a location where people are meeting, get your missions, get your orders, whatever it is, and then that patrol base would then become your operation base. Okay, that's where you would patrol out of, and then you would use this kit in order to protect yourself. Alright guys, so as you can see, it looks like a lot of kit, but it's really not when you start putting it on your body. I think as far as preparedness goes, I think you would do well to put most of this kit together. I think a lot of people do have essentially most of this stuff. If you are a prepper or you're in the military, you probably have most of this stuff anyway. I think that having it ready to go at a minute's notice is essential. It's a good idea, and if you don't use it, that's fine. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you appreciate the vid. I'll talk to you soon.